Hi, my name is Nashad. Some of you guys know me as Shubham. Spurs podcast. Sadly, I am flying without my wingman. You know, Dom actually has a life and has things to do. So, but he's been very supportive, and hopefully Dom will be on again soon. Wow, beating the Goons with the Kings of North London. I went crazy. I went actually up and down the high road, and I was honking my horn, going beep beep da 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 da. Tottenham. Yeah, I was just so happy, and I was shouting like Yed Army and Kings of North London, and kind of presumptuously. Personally, I think that Arsenal kind of helped us a lot, and we thanked him. Drew thanked him for it, asking him to stay as Arsenal manager because you've got a high line. It doesn't make sense to play Mertesacker. He's not the fastest, but defensively they were all over the shop. I mean, I know you. I mean, Vermaelen is experienced, and you lead from the centre. He has to be able to say, look, you go here. This is the line. Wherever I am. I know one fullback can't see another fullback, so you've got to look to us too and see where our line is, and that's how you defend. And if you can't see any white, you can't see any red, that means you're too. If you can't see any red on that side, that means you're too deep, and you're breaking. You won't be able to keep us. That defensive line won't be a line. It'll be some weird squiggle. But credit to us. I mean, I think Arsenal. I said to anyone that watched Gareth Bale's armbar, they had the passing advantage. I mean, Wilshere, Cazorla, Arteta, very, very dangerous, great passes. And first for 25 minutes, the passing and movement did cause us problems. And luckily, our defence, which I think was stronger, was more than a match. Jan Vertonghen, man of the match, he was superb. He read the game brilliantly, put his foot in, and I just thought, wow. He's had some wobbles. You're always going to have wobbles in any team. If you're coming new, and I said, look, to come into a new league, from the Dutch league, which is a strong league. I think the English league is stronger. He's come from Ajax, we were the top dogs, to a team where, well, obviously at the time we weren't top dogs. It's a huge change. It's a real big challenge for him, but he's done superbly. Michael Dawson, I love Michael Dawson. There's a really good article, I think years ago, if you ever look up in the Guardian, they talk about him winning the Player of the Season. He's had to prove himself to pretty much most managers. I mean, when Martin Jol signed him, was it Frank Arnson signed him? Sorry, when Martin Jol was manager. Realistically, when we signed him, we were more interested in signing Andy Reid, and he just came along. He was part of the package. Good player, but part of the package. And then, he went on to have, I would say, the best season in 05-06. But 06-07, he was captain. 57 games. He called him, I think, Barnet man. He was just superb for us. If you then, but fast forward a couple of years, Ramos, and even he admitted it on Sky, he said, look, I had trouble under Ramos, I had to really prove myself. Even under Redknapp, Redknapp brought in Basong, he even played Holston at centre half, because obviously Woodgate was injured, King was injured, he didn't have that much faith in Dawson. But Dawson proved him wrong, and I think he's got that, good old-fashioned Yorkshire attitude. He just got his head down and worked and proved it. And I was going to say, look, I think, obviously the Cabal injury has helped. He's given him chances, but at the time, the gaffer preferred Gallas over Dawes. And I wouldn't say wrongly, because I think we did win games, but Gallas is 34, 35, and he's you're going to tire. You're going to your body wears on you, concentration, everything. And Dawson, led from the back brilliantly. Him and Vertonghen. And you got to have a shout to Carl Walker. Apparently he was ill and still played a game. And I think he's been sick for 3 days. Came in and probably went back to being sick again or something. I don't know, but he was and Benny didn't have the best game, but to be very fair, when you've got a player like Sigurdsson who's going to try and cut in, they're going to, Jenkinson, and plus there's no Jenkinson wasn't really being pressed by Bale. With Bale and Walcott both rushing at him, and Vertonghen did the right thing. He came in every time and covered his left back superbly. But Arsenal, for the first 25 minutes, were playing brilliantly against us, and they had more possession, but we were able to make our possession count. And it's really weird that people call Arsenal the Barcelona, or they look to play the Barcelona style of football, and it's really weird how we basically played like Inter Milan against them. I guess it's no, obviously AUB it's from Jose Mourinho, was part of the Jose Mourinho management team. It's obviously learned a lot from Jose Mourinho, how to set your team up, and I think it's slowly come around. And it's really weird that was a year ago he was fired. We had, we went out of the Champions League race because obviously we technically went out of the Champions League race until Chelsea won the Champions League, against Bayern Munich. But it was just, that's what really started the free fall for us. And it's just so, for me, so odd that here is a guy who's basically, I wouldn't say, I don't use the word rebirth or renaissance because I think that's just too dramatic, but has been able to have a clean slate. I'll use the word tabula rasa, I guess, which means to be born without sin, I guess. But he's basically had a clean slate. He's learned from mistakes at his old club. He's more willing to engage his players and listen. At the end of the day, I can't understand why he did things the way he did at Chelsea, because at the end of the day, they paid 10-12 million pounds over to sign him, and they said, look, you're obviously paying a lot of money to sign a manager, paying him a ton of money. He's obviously going to believe his own hype, but ultimately, when you have been fired, as he was, it caused you to think, maybe, I need to change things. What worked before isn't going to work for me now, especially in the Premier League. Maybe I have to change a few things. Keep true to my principles, high line, and some other things, but there are certain things that I will look to change. Definitely, it was incredible. Gareth Bale, it still was like Bale versus Walcott. And although both did have a game, and they both, obviously Walcott got the assist for, even though Bale still managed to have an impact in the Walcott assist. It was basically Vertonghen and Dawson, and I thought they played superbly. And Vertonghen, I mean, I thought, it's Ajax, he's going to be solid, but the person that I'm not surprised, because Super Spurs, who spoke a lot about this guy, how great Hugo Lloris was, spoke about this. But what I like about Hugo Lloris is that he puts out a spark before it becomes a fire. They have like sprinklers or something, and that stops out any fire. That's what he does. He reads the game so brilliantly. And Brad Friedel, who I love, I thought Brad Friedel was an excellent, goalkeeper. He's not going to be able to play the way that Hugo Lloris, plays, or a keeper needs to play for this high line. I mean, Petr Cech's a great goalkeeper. I thought, he's been a great goalkeeper in the Premier League, but he's not there to play the high line that, the way Andre Spurs needed him to be able to do it. That's just the way things are. And I think there were many times where he really got out and claimed the ball, really got in their face and claimed it. There was, even when he lost it, he was scrambling around to get it. I mean, yes, Jan Vertonghen was man of the match, and it's unusual not to give man of the match to a goalkeeper unless he's made like a ton of like match-winning saves or match-keeping saves, saving saves. But he made so many vital interceptions. I don't know who chose him, whether it was Andre Villas-Boas or I don't know, quasi-director of football / chairman / director Daniel Levy or whoever, or even Tim Sherwood. But whoever did, hats off to them. I mean, you've got to look at, say, Arsenal. You think, well, how on earth did we get Vertonghen and Lloris ahead of Arsenal? That's something I can't understand. And to be totally fair, I don't care. But it just seems really odd how we managed to get them, get those two players ahead of Arsenal. But they've done a superb job for us. And credit to Spurs. You can say, look, put in, Friedel. He. And I'm not saying that Friedel, the goals that he conceded, Lloris wouldn't have conceded. They're different styles of coaching, styles of goalkeeping. But I think his style of goalkeeping suits us a lot better as we are now. And obviously, I will talk about the Inter game in a bit. But for me, Hugo Lloris has to start against Inter. Our midfield was overwhelmed, but and it was very strange that Parker was the one that set up the winning assist, because I love Scotty Parker, but you know, I remember it was last season. Harry Redknapp basically made comparisons between Scott Parker and David Mackay. Now, obviously, I wasn't born when David Mackay was playing. I don't think very many of us were. But I think one thing I said about David Mackay, yes, he was a hard man, but my God, could he pass the ball? I mean, proper. Honestly, he could really pass it. His ability on the ball was just incredible, and that's why he's considered to be one of our greatest ever players. Not only was he a hard man, but and he could put his foot in. But my God, he could pass the ball. I mean, he's a brilliant footballer, and I just thought, and Scotty Parker, yeah, he can play. Obviously, he can play a bit. He's not just a destroyer in the same so that Wilson Palacios was a destroyer, but he can play the ball, and I think he got us that second that beautiful goal for Aaron Lennon. But I think the difference was that our defence is really well organised, very well drilled, and we're mentally and physically a lot more fitter, and we are able to keep our focus for more of the game. Yeah, look, we made mistakes. Yeah, Yamatongan made a mistake last week that against West Ham. J. Cole got the goal, but and which put West Ham in the lead. But it's a big but. Players make mistakes. Not everyone can have a superb day at the office. I thought Siggy played. I wouldn't say saint and sinner. I think the thing about Siggy is that I think he's an excellent player. He is two-footed, predominantly more right than left-footed, but he's first touch is really poor. I saw it against West Ham. I saw it again. Against when he had a chance to put it 3-1, but luckily it wasn't a decisive factor. They didn't equalise, but that's something I think that can be worked on in coaching. In coaching, training. We've seen how our players have improved. Who knows? A full pre-season with the gaffer. No one's playing in any Euros or hopefully any, I don't know, some weird Confederations Cup or something. So hopefully we can. The only person I think will be playing in that, say, Sandro in Copa America. So, and is it? I don't know. Maybe I don't know if it's every 2 years. If it isn't, my apologies. But I just think, I think we can easily, I don't say easily. I think we can remedy any problems that our players have. Dembele, he put a shift in. Obviously, a bit worried about an injury. Addy's been getting a lot of shit from Spurs fans. Yeah, obviously he's a bit more worried about to play Arsenal, but he's done it. And obviously he gave away a silly foul, but it, and I think I don't care what we say, Lex. Kattenberg was doing his job. He did lead the player away, which allowed Bale to go in on goal. So from that respect, I don't think he had a terrible game. It wasn't, and there wasn't players, Lennon wasn't really able to put crosses in, and neither was Bale either, neither was Sigurdsson. So you can't blame a player for not doing that great if you don't give him that service, because everything's centered around, our Bale playing for our runners, and he didn't really work for Addy. So you've got to play. At the end of the day, this is the thing I don't get about Arsenal. I don't know what players Giroud is like, but I think he's 6'2". You have to put crosses into him. If you have to play his game. You have to play. If he scores goals from his head and put in crosses, you've got to have to cross into him, and we're not. That's just the basic situation. And I still think Addy is someone. He's a talented player. We saw it last season. Hopefully, who knows? Maybe he can get it back. So Lennon obviously scored a goal. It didn't have as much impact as one would have hoped. Obviously, gave away the free kick, but let's face it, Mersak is 6'9" or something. So he gets the head up, and even if it takes 2 bounces, and even then, Loris is almost about to get to it. So I'm not going to hold that against him. And no, I thought we played really well. Obviously, I don't know. You're trying to look for faults. But again, it's just because I think we're outpassed. But that's because Dembele is a good passer, but he doesn't play very spectacular passes, and he hasn't got that what I call give and go first touch ability. This guy's 6'1". He's very good on the ball, but he's not a Luka Modric kind of keep the game ticking over. He's not like a metronome style player. and Scotty Parker really needs that. But no, I would like to have seen, say, Lewis Holtby come on. And by the way, for the player, the fan that I don't know what was worse, a fan throwing a banana at Gareth Bale, which how on earth that was allowed to happen? Because that, he could have had, I don't know what he could have had in his hand, but that could have hurt Gareth Bale if he had something a bit heavier, like a set of keys that could have scratched him, whatever, really caused him an injury. So that shouldn't have happened. So I hope they find him and ban him. But those cunts that were saying shot on Angola should have been you when Adebayor sent off was being carried off. Sorry, that is sick. Seriously, you guys need help. They said that some of the Spurs fans are saying to Arsene Wenger, you're a French Jimmy Savile, so I don't know how much better we are either. So no, and I'm trying to say that smile, terrible, but no, I thought we played very well. Arsenal did help their tactics. They got their tactics wrong, which is unusual. Arsene Wenger, we got our tactics right. Well, we're still working progress yet. Is second beyond us? Who knows? I mean, Aston Villa play tonight. They could do us and themselves a favour. So maybe. For me, I think a lot of things have to go right for us, and a lot of things also have to go and a lot of things have to go wrong for City. So I don't see it happening, but you never know. I think who'd have thought Blackburn would have won at Man United last season? So I wouldn't rule out Aston Villa, but I think if we can get third, qualify automatically. That way we can sign players in, because if either Chelsea or Arsenal get that fourth spot, then they obviously have to still qualify through the group stages, not through the playoff round, and they might get a bad draw, they might not even be able to sign the players they want, because I think, well, who would I choose? Obviously they choose Chelsea for the money, but is that guaranteed? Is he going to sanction that kind of money, especially if financial fair play is going to be able to kick in? I don't know. But leading on to leading on to Inter, because we got basically Inter Milan, Arsenal, Barcelona. It's weird. Both teams have fallen a bit since then. Obviously, we didn't do as well in the league. We rebounded the following year, but unfortunately, Messi and Robin missing penalties, both missed penalties, deny us Champions League. We lost players. They've also lost players. Schneider obviously, and Elite has had some terrible injuries. Eto, went to Russia because he really wants to play in Russia, obviously. And Maicon, he took a taxi all the way to Manchester City. And Cesar's obviously decided to join him and come to QPR. Obviously, they've got Handanovic, who's a very good goalkeeper. But I don't know. I don't really know how much to entertain. For me personally, 4-2-3-1. I'd silence Hugo Lloris. I'd have Corker and Gallas. Mainly because I think Corker and Hugo Lloris have to really work at the communication. And I think Gallas is will hopefully lead a little bit with Corker. I play Norton and Benny. Norton mainly because I think Carl Walker was ill, so I think give him a bit of a rest. And Benny, I think, although he's played a few games, it does take a while to get back into your groove a little bit. In the two, assuming Dembele is injured, or even if he's not injured, he's not going to be. Chances are he hasn't trained today, and then we probably fly out to Inter Milan on say Wednesday. By the way, if those guys, so we're not flying Inter Milan. We play. No, sorry, we're not flying Inter Milan, but he probably won't train until tomorrow, maybe. And so you've got 2 days. Chances I'd rather keep him fit for Liverpool. So assuming Parker's still fit, I would actually have Parker and Carroll. I really rate Tom Carroll. I think he can keep the ball taken over in a Luka Modric style. He's obviously nowhere near as good as Luka Modric. Very few players are, and I know a lot of Spurs fans are really enjoying Luka Modric. Not doing that well at Real Madrid, which I think is kind of petty personally, but yeah, it's quite funny. But I think he's that kind of play. You can get the ball taken over. He's got a good left foot, can pass the ball a little bit. Me personally, when I play Bale, here's the thing: if we get through to the final, that's 15 games. Can Gareth Bale play in 15 games straight without risk of injury or anything, or burnout? I'm not too sure. I think this is where AUB has to really manage this. Me personally, I'd actually play Sigurdsson and Holtby and Lennon. And look, Bale, if they're looking at the bench thinking, shit, anytime they can bring off Gareth Bale, you know. So, players like Sigurdsson and Holtby will be playing the games of their lives, as will Aaron Lennon possibly as well. So, I'm not saying he needs to, but you look and think Bale's on the bench, so you're gonna be thinking, shit, I have to really put on a shift here. I put on Jermaine Defoe. He's looked fit and didn't look to be too rusty. Adebayor obviously carried off, and but again, I'd rather have a more fit Adebayor to bring on against Liverpool off the bench than say a less fit Adebayor to bring on the bench against Inter Milan. I'd definitely start him on the bench. If he isn't, I wouldn't start with him. I'd start JD. Maybe bring on Addy a bit later. But definitely that's how I'd look to do it anyway. Hugo Lloris, I think, has been superb, and I've got to really thank guys like Major Hank and Steve Spurs, especially, and Triple K, for keeping me honest. I'm sorry that I haven't been. The reason Don has been so great is he gives me really good energy, and it gives me some really good banter, and he'll correct me, and he'll get me say, oh, I disagree here, or I do agree, and I think that's the reason why I've been very grateful to have his energy, and I'm hoping he'll be coming back very, very soon. First of all, by the way, I'm going to give a shout out to a guy called Zeph. He's a guy from BJJ with, very talented musician, and check out Victim. Just go into YouTube after watching my YouTubes. Go to type in the search bar Zeph and Victim. It's a great video and it's very, very fresh. Zeph's a very, very talented musician. Very, very, very gifted. And he's, the guy's a poet. And listen to the song, and you'll find it, and you'll hear it. But speaking of songs, what song were we singing against Inter Milan? Having that only mic on, only place I can even remember. I think we'll be like, you know what? You're not the team you were a few years ago. I don't know what song we're singing against them. Personally, I think we can win 2-0. I think we're good enough. I think you have to give these players a chance, and more importantly, you have to rotate. I think believe me, will I play Livermore? Probably not. The reason being, not that I don't like Livermore, I think he's a good player. I just think right now I don't think he's ready to make the start just yet. Not alongside Parker anyway. I think Livermore needs someone like a Carroll or a Holtby, to play alongside. I think he's a box-to-box kind of player. In the mould of Sandro, just nowhere near as good. And so that's how I do it. But definitely have Livermore on the bench. Look to bring him on. Once Parker's played his 75 minutes, and if we are winning, definitely I'll bring on Jay Livermore. But yes, I think we can win 2-0. Obviously Liverpool. Wow, that's going to be one hell of a game. Luis Suarez is in the form of his life. I know a lot of guys don't like Luis Suarez, but for me, I think he's if he spoke on his abilities on the football field, he's extremely talented. Alright, Wigan aren't the best team, but I think they're in the bottom three. But, I think they're in the bottom three, and they still managed to beat us 1-0, so they are a good side. And I'm not sure if Sturridge is playing or not, I can't remember, but they've had a very good signing in Daniel Sturridge, and that's someone I would like for us to have signed, but I really don't think Chelsea would have signed. I don't think he would have come. I don't know if there's any problem with him in ABB. And even then, I don't see Chelsea selling him to a rival club such as us. Others may disagree, but that's my fault. Liverpool, they are a good side. I mean, Coutinho's a good player, and some players just don't work out. I mean, like there was a big thing on Football Focus with Sion. They were talking about him, and he didn't really work out for Liverpool. Dortmund immediately brought him back, and he's playing very well for them. It doesn't mean he's a shit player or Liverpool or a shit club. It just wasn't the right fit. And sometimes you go to a club and it is a much better fit. I still think on the whole, I think we can beat Liverpool, because you don't know what Liverpool are going to turn up. I mean, you saw, because the Liverpool that played against West Brom, alright, admittedly, the guy saved the penalty, but West Brom are no joke. But you never sure what Liverpool is going to turn up. I think we can win that game, and because I think there are no games that I think we fear. I think having played Man United and beaten them at Old Trafford, and then held them to a draw at home, a game which I thought we could have won. I think we deserved to win that game. I think although the draw was a fair result, I think we could have won the game as well. I think it could have gone either way, I think. And I think to show that bolt to come back to Man United, I think we can go to a place like Anfield and not be intimidated. And obviously, a lot can happen between now and Sunday. We've got Inter Milan, so there's not a lot beyond Inter Milan, but I still think, on the whole, no, I think Chelsea, you never know what's going on with them. I mean, yes, they had like 20 chances and they managed to convert one of them against West Brom, but you never know. I mean, that Rafa Benitez thing could, I don't know, he could say something else to piss off the Chelsea fans, and the whole thing could come crashing down. Arsenal could take advantage of that. You never know what's going to happen, And God forbid Arsenal could, who knows, they could even win the Champions League. I very much doubt they'll win in Bayern Munich, but, I don't think Chelsea would win, against Bayern Munich and Bayern Munich, but they did. So yeah, I think for me, Liverpool, I'll give more of a how I think we should set up against Liverpool in a more nearer time. But I still think if we play the same team we did against say Arsenal, maybe play Jermaine Defoe front instead of Ali, and assuming Dembele is fit, but if I don't know, I think we can go to Liverpool, and I think we can win. And I think we can beat Inter Milan. So on that note, I thank you for watching this episode of YouShubes. And I'm really struggling to come up with a title for this. How about Bale tells the arse where they can Bale tells the arse where they can stick the banana? How's that one? I want to say big thanks to all those of you guys who watch it. Please click on the ad links if and should they appear. Hopefully Dom will be returning to do a YouTubes with me pretty soon, and it's always great to hear from you guys. Zeph, Spurs, Major Hank, Triple KL, Bullet, Tabatsy. There was a Palace fan that was watching a few YouTubes. More subscribers. I look forward to hearing your comments. And as always, come on you Spurs.